Lesson: Analyzing vendor agreements for data protection compliance. Analyzing vendor agreements for data protection compliance is a critical skill for professionals involved in data privacy and protection. This process involves a thorough examination of contractual obligations, ensuring that they align with relevant data protection laws and regulations. Effective analysis requires a combination of legal knowledge, technical understanding, and practical experience with current frameworks and tools designed to assess and mitigate risks associated with data sharing and processing by third-party vendors. Vendor agreements are a cornerstone of data protection compliance, acting as binding documents that outline the responsibilities and obligations of both parties concerning data handling. These agreements must comply with various regulatory requirements, such as the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe or the California Consumer Privacy Act in the United States. A critical aspect of analyzing these agreements is to ensure they include specific clauses that address data protection principles, such as data minimization, purpose limitation, and security measures. A practical tool for analyzing vendor agreements is the Data Protection Impact Assessment, which helps organizations systematically evaluate the potential impacts on data privacy that a proposed project or system might have. Conducting a DPIA involves identifying potential risks and implementing measures to mitigate these risks. When applied to vendor agreements, a DPIA can highlight areas where data protection measures may be insufficient, prompting revisions to contractual terms to ensure compliance. Another essential framework is the vendor risk management lifecycle, which involves several stages: identifying vendors, assessing risk, managing contracts, monitoring vendor performance, and terminating the vendor relationship when necessary. This lifecycle approach ensures that data protection considerations are integrated into all phases of the vendor relationship. During the contract management phase, organizations should scrutinize agreements for clauses related to data breach notification, data processing details, subcontractor obligations, and data return or destruction at the contract's end. For instance, a clause requiring vendors to notify the organization within 72 hours of a data breach aligns with GDPR requirements. Case studies have demonstrated that organizations with robust vendor risk management processes experience fewer data breaches and are better prepared to respond to incidents. One such case is that of a European telecommunications company that significantly reduced its risk exposure by implementing a comprehensive vendor management program, which included detailed contractual obligations and regular compliance audits. Practical tools such as contract management software can assist in the analysis and management of vendor agreements. These tools streamline the review process by providing templates, automated reminders for contract renewals, and centralized storage for easy access to all vendor agreements. Additionally, they can facilitate collaboration between legal, compliance, and procurement teams, ensuring that all relevant stakeholders are involved in the contract review process. By leveraging technology, organizations can increase efficiency and accuracy in their vendor agreement analysis efforts. The importance of maintaining robust vendor agreements is underscored by statistics highlighting the prevalence of data breaches linked to third-party vendors. A report by the Ponemon Institute found that 59% of companies experienced a data breach caused by a third-party vendor in 2020. This statistic underscores the critical need for thorough analysis and continuous monitoring of vendor agreements to protect sensitive data and maintain compliance with data protection regulations. Organizations can enhance their vendor agreement analysis by adopting a risk-based approach. This involves classifying vendors based on the level of risk they pose to the organization, which is determined by factors such as the type of data they access, the volume of data processed, and their geographical location. High-risk vendors require more stringent contractual terms and more frequent audits to ensure compliance. This approach allows organizations to allocate resources effectively, focusing on agreements that pose the greatest potential risk. Training and awareness programs are also vital in equipping staff with the necessary skills to analyze vendor agreements effectively. These programs should cover relevant data protection laws, common contractual clauses, and the use of tools and frameworks for compliance assessment. Regular training updates are essential to keep pace with evolving regulations and emerging threats in the data protection landscape. Furthermore, organizations should establish clear lines of communication with their vendors to facilitate ongoing compliance monitoring and issue resolution. This can be achieved through regular meetings, performance reviews, and compliance audits, which help maintain transparency and trust between the organization and its vendors. In cases where vendors fail to meet contractual obligations, organizations should have predefined procedures for addressing these breaches, including potential contract termination if necessary. In conclusion, analyzing vendor agreements for data protection compliance is a multifaceted task that requires a combination of legal knowledge, technical expertise, and practical tools. By adopting frameworks such as the Vendor Risk Management Lifecycle and utilizing tools like DPIAs and contract management software, organizations can enhance their ability to assess and mitigate data protection risks associated with third-party vendors. Training programs and a risk-based approach further strengthen these efforts, ensuring that vendor agreements are thoroughly analyzed and continuously monitored for compliance. As data protection regulations continue to evolve, organizations must remain vigilant and proactive in their approach to vendor agreement analysis, safeguarding sensitive data and maintaining regulatory compliance.